The other FSA submissions, firstly, we support many of the other submissions that have been made, including issues regarding corruption, technical local content, etc. But we are trying to focus mainly on 50% for gender equality, to include monitoring, and then just to look at the dispute resolution problem. So the public procurement bill must be linked to changes and it is imperative for government to create comprehensive policies and regulations to implement gender responsible procurement. Such policies and regulations clearly identify targets, mandatory requirements, and objectives. Given that women make up approximately 51% of the population, that percentage then will be 15%. And as the bill is currently framed, women are an option or a maybe. And that is not okay. Women must be a good. Next slide. The reality is that government officials do not promote the equality of businesses, and they expressly required to do so by law. The plight of black-owned women-owned businesses is the most impacted, given the double disadvantages by virtue of historical racial discrimination coupled with gender inequality. The intersectional nature of race and gender must be at the forefront of discussions of race and equality. Next slide, please. The section 217 on constitution and constitution 216 have been dealt with previously. I won't focus on it for too long, but I do want to say that there is no legal obligation for formalized procurement policy for women-owned businesses. Section 217 of the Constitution, particularly on the basis of fairness, accountability, and competitiveness, is sidelined and not being complied with in the absence of a legal obligation to report on the use of this order. I just want to quote from a research report titled Equity and Inclusion of Women Businesses and Public Procurement in South Africa. The lack of express legal provision on gender procurement in the Preferential Procurement Policy Framework Act that are not related to black economic empowerment has led to a reluctance on the part of procurement officials to advance an agenda in that case required by law. And that's critical. Unless we legislate, women will be an option and a preference, as I said earlier. Next slide, please. Another section that has been also highlighted significantly, section 7, Untitled Chapter 4. I want to refer to the memorandum of objects of public procurement law, which reports that Clause 17.2 also sets out the minimum requirements for the content of the procurement policy of a procuring institution. Clause 17.4 and 5 specify preferences like small enterprises, enterprise-led townships, rural underdeveloped areas, black people, women, persons with disability like you. We are saying that this is inadequate. It must be legislated to implement gender responsive procurement. 50% of public procurement spend, important, spend must be awarded to women and women. Given the numerous considerations in adjudicating and awarding a contract, such as pricing, it may not always be possible, and we really think about that, for women-owned businesses to participate in a particular bid or even successful bid. Next slide, please. In those circumstances, we suggest that in order to address the inadequacy, it is proposed that a condition of award for a successful bidder would include a provision to subcontract potential women-owned businesses, which of course would be subject to certain valid and certain needs. Like the story of black economic empowerment, all very well aware of the growth in travel and inclusion, gender should be a criteria in evaluating, adjudicating, and awarding the contract. Bids usually would form a joint venture or a special purpose vehicle to submit bids. Compliance with the public procurement bill will now afford women-owned businesses the opportunity to be a member of the JV or the SPE, bearing in mind always what we're asking for, the 50% threshold. Just to highlight, the 50% threshold does not apply to the quantity of contracts needed annually, but speaks directly to the value scale of government execution. And that is both at national and provincial levels. Next slide, please. This has also been dealt with previously, and we'll just run through it very quickly. Of course, it is imperative that there should be monitoring, reporting, and transparency. The mandate of regular reporting should be both on an internal and an external basis at both local, provincial, and national. Interrelated targets and objectives. There should be transparency and accountability. And again, I don't want to re-emphasize that. It has been addressed earlier. And the data that is collected should be gender disaggregated data. The absence of monitoring is susceptible to effect, and inevitably there will be non-compliance with data. Effective monitoring and prevention must also include upskilling and training. What's also very important to focus on is that there should be financial assistance given to women-owned businesses, as they have been excluded throughout the years from the processes. And there should be consequences, as I said, for failure to comply with the regulation. Lastly, touching on the dispute resolution tribunal, I haven't seen much about this, but it's fundamental to have both the internal and external dispute resolution processes. The internal processes provide efficiency related to disputes prior to any referral to external bodies, whether it's a tribunal or court. Now, I find that this section of the proposed bill that may not align directly with the court rules, and we need to look at the time frames that are being set out, including what we call the out and partial rule. So this provision, I think, needs extensive amendment in order to give effect to a tribunal that will have impact before the parties and the complainants have to go to court. And also, as I said, in the process and time frames to be considered. There must be a mechanism for a complainant to have a complaint also adjudicated urgent circumstances for set time frame. So of course we have the time frame that's afforded to us in the Motion of the Justice Act. But if a matter is urgent and it is as an entities the tribunal must also have a time frame for matters. Alternatively, the complainant must then approach the High Court. To conclude, in addition to corruption and fronting and of reality, women-owned businesses in public procurement are further impacted by additional factors such as gender bias, inequality, lack of financing, patriarchal systems, cultural barriers, to name but a few. The participation of women-owned businesses in public procurement will be achieved by including relevant environment in this bill, and we believe that it is a progressive bill and one that is absolutely critical. Just like to end with the quote, women are the students of our nation, women carry our nation, women prepare the next generation. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank very much. Malibong, and thank for it. Great. Let's go to issues. MRF, can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, proceed.
Four.
Sound is on full blast, so.
He also sing full blast. MRF.
Yes, we are here, Chair. Can you hear us?
Okay, let me come back to you. We can hear you, but
Switch on the camera.
we still have to fix the sound. To attend to it, yes, you can hear you. They sound very, very far.
Good morning, Chair. Can you hear us?
The problem is the volume. What is the problem?
Good morning, Chair. Can you hear us?
The problem is near to understand. It's like the Institute of
Recording in
Race
progress.
Relations,
Good morning, Chair. Can you hear us?
Yeah, is there a mic there?
Using that one.
Is that mic not working?
Morning Chair, can you hear us?
Oh, because we have to record you.
Morning Chair, can you hear us?
Okay, so my name is Gabriel Prowler. Good morning, everyone. Nice to be here in person. I am representing IRR Legal, a pretty freshly minted active civil litigant and participant in public discourse, as well as the Institute of Race Relations.
Good morning Chair, can you hear NRF?
Liberal think tank on the continent. I'm going to largely speak here.
Can you hear NRF?
Missions and IRR, that are legal, that really extensively do cause by cause analysis. And I think for the nitty-gritty, that is there. And we consider that to be helpful as much as can be. But here in the limited time that we have, I thought it might be more pertinent to discuss matters at a high level. So, what's the problem? That's the big question. I think one way to think about the problem is that, according to the United Nations, more than 4 million South African children have stunted growth because of malnutrition. As a country, it's a shame. And it's a very real thing, and the negative impacts there will last, sit with us. Another way to think about the problem is that we have the highest unemployment rates that's actually recorded. It's likely that there are other countries with higher unemployment rates, but they don't also count. So when you think of countries where the government can count, we've got the worst counted number of unemployed people in the population. There's another part of the problem though. Why is it like that? It's not because South Africans don't want to work. South Africans are hungry. More than anything, there's a work hunger. I mean, there's literal hunger for those starving children, and there's a work hunger in this country. So why can't people work? Well, a big factor is corruption, as everybody in this chamber knows. Now, South Africa is not the most corrupt country on earth, even though it does have the worst unemployment problem. So what's the connection there? I think the connection is we have one of the fastest declines in our government's ability to combat corruption in the world. According to the World Bank, over the last 25 years, we have had the 7th highest increase in corruption on the planet. Okay, so Venezuela's worse, Zimbabwe's worse. There is 6 countries that are worse, but now you get into the countries where they can't count unemployment. So if you think of real constitutional democracies, we have the highest increase in unemployment on the planet in 25 years. And that is connected to job loss, and that is connected to the fact that the fiscus nor ordinary South Africans can keep children fed. Perhaps, I would say without question, the greatest document analyzing state capture is popularly known as the Zondo report. It's the State Capture Commission report. And I would very much like to draw this chamber's attention to a passage in that report which connects the dots. Of course, there are bigots inside this country and around the world who think we have this corruption for bigoted reasons. But the Zondo Commission was not of a mindset to take such shortcuts. The Zondo Commission had to think very seriously. Why? With all the goodwill in this country, with all the talent in this country, with all the struggle heroes, with the love of democracy in this country, given all of that, and we have become the place, the best breeding ground in the world for corruption. How can it be? This question, you have to ask yourself this question. You can't at that scale just say it's some bad happens. You can't say it's one family living in Dubai. The extent of the problem. The Zondo report said there are difficulties, I'm quoting, in interpreting the legislative mosaic. That is exactly the purpose. Identified that this bill is meant to. Procurement is approaching 1 trillion. And up to this day, you've got the FA, MFMA, the other one, E Act, and so on. Many, many laws. The sheer number of acts and regulations with procurement issues make it very difficult for conscientious officials to get a clear understanding of what is required. This is the document. There is a need for procurement officers to interpret and to harmonize the various legislative enactments, which would not be the case if the legislation is codified and required. Okay, that's what this thing is doing. So far good. We've seen the problem, we've seen the extent, and this bill is addressing that problem. One will solve the problems. Okay, good. The gaps in this harmony is occasioned by the fragmentation and transferable challenge, the honor procurement official. Okay. Then the Zondo report moved on, and by the way, volume 1, about 529 volumes. Also in the solution. The Zondo report said one of the fundamental difficulties inherent in our procurement legislation is to reconcile the two objectives, the section 217(1) and 217(2) of the Constitution. To roughly summarize, the Zondo report does 217(1) says procurement must do value for money, cost effective, transparent, competitive, and so on. Must. Each and every one. 217(2) says that doesn't prevent a system providing for categories of preference to protect or advance persons or categories of persons that are disadvantaged. In short, Zondo summarizes that with one word: transformation. So 1, value for money. Transformation. These are the two things. And what does the Zondo report say? There's a potential for misunderstanding. So the current system, it says, is not reconciling these two things. It says, and I quote, "This uncoordinated approach leaves a critical question unanswered. Is it the primary intention of the Constitution to procure goods at least cost? Or is the procurement system to prioritize the transformative potential identified in section 217? There is an inevitable tension when a single process is simultaneously to achieve different aspirational objectives. There are, of course, many cases. One hopes the vast majority in which the award of the tender satisfies both objectives of the Constitution, but undoubtedly, I'm quoting directly from the Zondo report, undoubtedly there are other cases, some of which may well be high-value tenders, in which one or other of these two objectives must be fulfilled. And it is in such cases that the legislation fails to give guidance. That is the problem. In the view of the Commission, the failure to identify the primary intention of the Constitution is unhelpful, and it has negative repercussions when it is delicate and complex to